need for your interview with the VBA when you're going for your DBU. And as you can see, the tabs are a really unique product where you can actually see they're bright colored highlighted, and you can easily access the sections that you need. If I walk you through all the books, without going through every single one, but for example, this one here is the Occupation Health and Safety Act Regulations 2017. If you're looking for the scaffolding section, you come across scaffolding at the top and you'll see your references there. Because there are so many books, you can see that some books are much more simpler, like the Building Construction Industry Security and Payments Act only has a few tabs, whereas something more like the Building Regulations 2018 is a much more substantial product. So you can see the range of tabs, including the tabs on top, which actually give you really quick access to all the different forms. Really important, again, for your interview. Now, it's like this box is never ending because they just keep coming out. I'll just shift this across. Everyone's favorite is the NCC, which is the most amount of tabs you'll probably ever see on a book. And then as we get through to the Australian standards, and these will start to look a lot more familiar. The guides to standards and tolerances, which is really important. One of the thinner books, but you can see how many tabs are actually included in that. If we get all 18 books out, you can see exactly how much is actually required when you go for your DBU. It is absolutely incredible how many books you have to bring. And again, the reason why we need so many books is because there are no digital items allowed in the interview. So it means you need all of these books. And that's a big difference between the rego world and the real world, because in the real world, you've got Google, you've got your inspector, surveyor, architect, engineer. But when you are in that interview, you are the inspector, architect, engineer, and you have no electronics, no Google, no nothing like that. So you are heavily reliant on the books. And then we have our contracts, and that there is all the books you need for your DBU interview. We have a full service for tabbing these up for you, or you can just buy the tabs and tab them yourself. When you buy the tabs from us, we run free classes. That's three-hour classes where we will actually walk through and tab them up. But if you are short for time, we can tab them for you. So I hope that was insightful. And to make this as simple as possible, we explained this a couple of times, but we're going on a principle of 3-3-1. So the first number relates to your work history, 3 relates to job history, and 1 relates to reference. So 3-3-1. So to start off, you need to be able to provide 3 years working in the construction industry. You need to provide 3 working examples of jobs that you've completed involving building permits. And finally, you need 1 reference for 1 job. So 3-3-1. When we talk about the first 3, we talk about your 3 years of work history. Now, you don't actually have to document all the details like plans and permits. We're simply going to list addresses and what the job was. For example, single house construction, Smith Street in Dandenong, this month to this month in this year with this builder. Next line. And we simply use as minimalistic details like that to document 3 years at least of work history that you've done. Now, when you get down to the next 3, we go into much more detail. But on that top 3, when we just talk about 3 years, that's all we need. Now, which license am I going to get? Well, it's really simple. When we look at the middle line, we're going to look at the 3 case studies that you bring to the table, the 3 jobs. The license you receive will reflect the jobs that you bring. So if you bring 3 landscaping jobs, you get a landscaping license. If you bring 3 rendering jobs, you get a rendering license. If you bring 3 new builds or larger extensions, renovations, ideally in the value of $80,000 plus, well, then you'll be looking at a DBU. In the event that it's tilt panel factories, then you look at a low rise, a commercial, or if it's a fit out job where you're doing a commercial fit out, you have non-structural or structural fit out. We can list all the different types of licenses for you, but it's really important that you speak to a specialist. But again, with the 3-3-1 formula and focusing on the middle 3 on the exact case studies, that will tell you what type of license you're going to get. Now, focusing on the 1, which is your referee, you need to provide 1 referee that is a licensed builder who is directly linked to one of your 3 jobs. So one of these 3 case studies. So 1 reference for 1 job. It's important to note that the referee that's providing the reference needs to have an equivalent license to what you're going for or a higher license. A commercial cannot give a reference for a domestic license, and a domestic can't give a reference for a commercial license. if you work for Simmons or one of the large builders, the volume builders, it's very often that you're not going to actually deal with the licensed builder. So a construction manager or supervisor can actually give you a reference on behalf of the builder, and the builder isn't involved. So it's a great way to get around it if you're not working closely with the builder when you're involved with the bigger companies. One of the most common questions we get asked almost on a daily basis is, do I need my Cert IV or diploma to go for my builder's license? Now, the short answer is no. On the VBA website, it does say that that is one of the prescribed qualifications. And if you see any letters from the VBA where someone's been declined, it will always mention that you do not have a diploma as one of the reasons. However, as you guys know from listening to these videos, we get 5 to 15 licenses every week, which is pretty exciting. But we know specifically that if you have a strong history and a good reference running the 331 that we spoke about last week, we can achieve your builder's license without a Cert IV or diploma.